Hello.
Hello.
I am Carlos Chanou. I've been in the business now for over 42 years. Well, let me see here. 81, so do the math. 43 plus. And started in retail. Decided after 8 years that I wasn't. I got tired of it. The same four walls. Went into wholesale, and became a diamond dealer. Did that for 3 years, and it's diamonds. I mean, how exciting can diamonds be? So I saw black pearl for the first time, early 90s, and it's like, oh my God, it was just amazing that something that beautiful could come out of the ocean and be sold for jewelry. So I decided immediately that definitely was my calling, to go into that business. So have delved in cultured pearls now, as I'm sure a lot of you have, for many, many years. And I mean, they're pretty and all, but they're cultured. You can just make more and more. So I've been looking at natural for years and thought, wow, that's just amazing. Here's a gem that we go back hundreds and hundreds of years, or even thousands. And before rubies and emeralds and diamonds and all these other gemstones became really popular, it was all about the pearl. Kings and queens, didn't matter. They wanted the pearl, they had to have it, and they went all over the world looking for it. So incredible gem, and the fact that it's natural and you can't just farm it, you have to just be lucky by happenstance to have gotten a mollusk or a bivalve or a gastropod, sea snail, and found 1 in 10,000 that one happened to have a pearl in it, and maybe 1 in 100,000 for a pretty decent one. So very, very rare, and not something that's really widely available in the business. And everyone that I talked to over the years, so many people thought that here we have this incredible gem, but Carlos, I'm going to stick to culture because my customers understand that, I understand that, the price point understands that with me. I don't want to be having to hawk the house when I want to buy a strand of pearls to put in the store. So trying to explain to them that, you know, it's as beautiful and as unique and as incredible of a gem that it is, it's rare, but not all of them are tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's so many different varieties that can be started at, not so many varieties, but there are so many varieties out there, some of them starting as low as $100 or more from there. And you still got a natural pearl that you can create into a pendant or a ring, or maybe two if you're lucky and get a pair of earrings. But it's not all priced out of the category. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some different things that I've had, and some that I also have here, and I'll discuss pricing with you guys as well, so that you have an understanding that it's not just, you know, like I said, tens or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. It can be hundreds of dollars. So let's start here. Okay, so so here's a conch pearl. So many of you, I'm sure, have heard of a conch pearl before. It's that really beautiful pink pearl, comes from out near the Caribbean, in that whole area, northern part of South America, the Caribbean Ocean right there. And it comes from the queen conch, which I don't know if any of you have gone there before, but you know, conch fritters are like the food of choice out there, apparently. And it's everywhere. And you'll see mounds of shells. Well, those shells have a beautiful pink interior, and hence why you have a beautiful pink pearl. And the flame patterning that you see here in conch pearls, that's what it's all about. The more intense the flame to the eye, the more visible it is to you, the more rare. Most of them have only what we call loop visible flame. You've got to physically pick it up, look at it, and then loop it to see the flame on the pearl. It's got a beautiful pink color, maybe it's clean, maybe the luster is there, maybe it's not you know, a non-lustrous pearl, but it's got luster. But if that flame isn't there, you can't, it's gonna cost you a lot less than if you get one that has an eye visible flame, and then the rarity factor is much higher, and hence much more expensive. This is a 20 carater. Most of them come out in the size of about a carat and a half a carat. It's I have a few here that you can see there's a box with a bunch of little pearls in it, little conchs. That's about the average size. So to get a 5 or a 10 or a 20 or even larger with eye visible flame, very rare. So yes, we get into things like this, 1 in 20, 1 in 100, maybe 200,000 might be something like that, but very, very rare indeed. And we're going to go through all different kinds of natural pearls here. This was a 5-strand natural Terria pearls. Terria pearls come, Terria's different varieties. We have Terria penguin, Terria sterna, also known as winged oysters. And they produce these really cool colors. And these are all natural pearls, maybe from about a 3 millimeter size to about a 8 millimeter size. But as long as this put together, as long as this took to put together, you can see they weren't concerned about the shapes. They're natural pearls. You're gonna get off-shaped pieces. Question is, how off-shaped or how perfectly round do you want it to be? What's important to you and your budget for what you're looking for? But a necklace like this was really all about the colors. I mean, you look at it, you say, yeah, they're natural colors. Well, they're natural pearls with natural colors. That's a whole nother level. But you think, oh my God, that's gotta be hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a 3 to an 8 or 9 millimeter necklace. Absolutely lovely. Necklace retailed for $60,000. So that's retail. So, and looking at Keystone. So when we look in that category, it's a huge bang for the buck. It's a big bang for the buck for 60 grand in a retail jewelry store. Now, do you think the client is going to be able to price that? No, you can put it at 80,000 if you want, if you bought it right. You can triple key it because there is no comparison, or what comparisons there are so little in the marketplace. So that is what I'm trying to get across with natural pearls is, yes, it can be expensive and amazing and gorgeous, maybe you only wear it for special occasions, but there's a lot of natural pearls that are not like that. You can wear it every day, and it could be a few $1,000s. But again, you're showing your client something that's extremely unique, rare, and beautiful, that it's like, it's not just a cultured matched pair of 8 millimeter Akoyas, maybe they're Hanadamas or whatever, but they're natural pearls, which again, the rarity factor of what they are, that speaks to a lot of what people are looking for in retail jewelry. They're looking for something that's unique, different, good quality, and not something that they're gonna see everyone else wearing. Of course, unless of course you're looking at a pair of diamond studs or something like that. But see, just
Carlos,
hitting buttons here.
Could we change this to the non-speaker view so the screen is bigger?
Oh, that's a good question.
Can everybody hear okay?
Yes.
Okay, oh, cool, I figured it out. Okay, so we go now to the next one.
There. So now it's a little bit bigger.
With the microphone.
Okay. I
Don't
know
you
what
worry,
happened.
we'll get this.
Because I'm,
There we go.
Maybe turning off a few lights.
Yes, I can do that.
okay, there we go. Okay, so here's another type of natural pearl. It's a mellow mellow. Mellow mellows come from Indonesia, part of the world, mainly. That's where a lot of them are found. South Sulu Sea, Indonesia. This has incredible flame patterning throughout here. That's almost looks like a tiger striping. That's flame patterning. Incredible, incredible pearl. This is about a 10 carat size. Now, that was something I didn't get into, is natural pearls. When you look at a strand of pearls, you're going, okay, is it a 7 to 7.5 if you're looking at a Koya, or is it 10 to 13 millimeter if you're looking at South Sea or Tahitian? And natural pearls, it's never about the millimeter size, it's always the carat. So when I refer to this is a 10 carat, a 5 carat, maybe that's a 230 carat total weight necklace. It's always going to be in carats, not in millimeters. Now, if you want to give additional information on the pearl, yeah, millimeter and all that is fine, but whenever you're trading or talking in natural pearls, you refer to in carats. Here's an incredible necklace. This was from early 1900s, all natural pearls, along with that right there. That's also a natural nacreous pearl. We believe it was French. It was made early 1900s, like 1905. And the family who owned it from the very beginning had immigrated to South America and took that with them, like a lot of people when they immigrated. They're the most amount of dollar in the smallest amount of space. And we were able to acquire it. And they said that they almost never wore it, like maybe once every couple of years, maybe to a wedding or to a special event. So when I looked at it, it looked brand new. It was just incredible, absolutely lustrous, no oils on it. They took care of it as if they knew what it was truly worth. Platinum, gorgeous necklace. This is no longer, but pieces like this are very difficult to come by. They look like a strand of 5 millimeter Akoya pearls. So to put together a strand of all natural round that size, it's truly difficult or impossible to do. You have to buy so much or look at so much material to find the real nice ones that are rounded, because natural almost never is round. And when you do find round, the prices can be astronomical for the material.
What was the value of that necklace?
Oh, thank you. So the value on that necklace is about 150 to 180,000 in today's market. Retail.
Is it still one piece?
Yes. Yes. Store in Florida sold it. I sent it to them. They sold it, and it went to. He said that she would wear it only on super special occasions because she's always wanted a natural pearl strand, and they were excited to get something like that. So we go on to the next one here. We have this is a gastropod. Now I've called this a mellow, but the interesting thing about natural pearls are even labs a lot of times will call something, and labs will be the first to just scream out of their mouth, it's an opinion, it's our opinion. And that's all it is, because they can test, they can do all the things they want, but they're lacking, in my opinion, a lot of labs are lacking information from the guys, from the fishermen, the actual guys who are buying from these fishermen. And because they see it firsthand, coming out of the shell sometimes, or what the fisherman just found. Maybe the color is not what the norm is, but you see it come out of the, there's so many variables with natural pearls that labs will a lot of times get that wrong, and it's a shame. They're getting way better at it, but here's an example. This wasn't wrong, but it wasn't all the information. So when I sent this in, it came back as a gastropod. A gastropod is a sea snail. That could be a conch, it could be a mellow, it could be a cassis. Those are three types of natural pearls that all come from gastropods, from sea snails. Now, that's all they could tell me is, well, we know this is a gastropod, we know it's a natural pearl, but we don't know which one for sure it is. So as time goes on, I'm hoping that they're going to get better and better with DNA technology and all the other things that they're trying to do to make it more concise and correct. So that's this pearl, I have this pearl here tonight, and it is the most incredible flame I've seen of any natural pearl that has ever come across my desk. It's really intense, and that's a see the light shining right on it, but it's quite intense. So it's only a 5-carater, so not very large, but insane color and flame on the piece.
What is you got porcelaneous?
Okay, so that's a very good question, and thank you. I was going to get to that, I think eventually, but I forgot. So, perfect. Basically, there's two types of natural pearls. There's porcelaneous, and there's nacreous. So nacreous is like the pearls that Will is wearing. Those are all nacreous pearls. A bead was put in the mollusk, and nacre was deposited on top of that bead, layers and layers and layers of it, until it created this incredibly beautiful cultured pearl. Now, then you see a pearl like this. I mean, that doesn't look anything at all like any of the nacreous pearls I've ever seen. This is these varieties like the conch, the mellow, the cassis. This is porcelaneous is how we refer to it as. The structure that builds on it is just built differently, almost like a brick house. And so you get this, when the sun or the light shines through the pearl or onto the pearl, it refracts back with this incredible flame patterning to it. The higher the quality of the piece, the more intense the flame. And like I said before, some don't have any flame unless you physically loop it and look, but they're all going to have some flame to it. You just have to look hard sometimes if it's not as intense as something like this.
With this much flame, how much is this pearl?
So this pearl right here is 20,000 retail keystone, and it's only a 5 carat, so that's a couple thousand a carat.
How many millimeters? Out of curiosity, how big is it?
So it's I'll have to look at it exactly, but you're looking at probably about a 10 millimeter length by about a 4 or 5 millimeter width.
Oh.
It's a drop shape. You can't really tell in the back, but it is a drop shape, but the bottom of the pearl is where all the action is happening. The top of it doesn't look very exciting,
The
but
eye
when
of
you
the
see this.
tiger.
What's that?
It's the eye of the tiger.
I like that.
It's amazing.
So here we have, and then we have necklaces like this. This has been around since, well, we know that the necklace portion was just recently built, made to mimic this piece, which was built in the 1800s. And we believe that was Portugal. So it's 19 karat like a rose gold. This pearl we had carbon dated going back around 800 years or so. Yeah, 800 to 1400 AD. So yeah, as much as 600 to 1,000 years. So the pearl itself is quite spectacular. It's got this incredible luster and all that. These are natural pearls, and this necklace was built to mimic this part here. It's now placed in a museum in Tucson. So the next Tucson show, a lot of these pieces, not a lot, a few of these pieces that I'm going to talk to you tonight are there at the museum for you to look at. And so if you haven't gone to the Alfie Norville in Tucson, it's an awesome museum. It's a world-class gem museum between the gemstones and all the finished jewelry and a lot of things for kids there to interact with. It's a really cool museum. But so that will be there for exhibit for the next year. So I wanted to show this because I want you to see that this is the rarest of the rare when we get into round pearls. You look at this and the first thought is these are cultured. They're perfectly round. Now, what I can tell you is this necklace took 10 years to build. It was done in 1905 to 1915 by Meyer Rothschild. Not the Rothschild that we all know, but Meyer Rothschild was a gemologist back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and he had a passion for pearls. And he took 10 years to build this necklace for his wife. And he looked at millions of pearls from the Tennessee River and the Mississippi River to put together, I think it was 79 pearls total. Fantastic piece. This is a necklace that is in the neighborhood of about $700,000 to $800,000 retail. Not large, 4.1 to 8.0, but when we talk about natural pearls, the ones that don't look like natural pearls, that are perfect, are the most expensive of all the natural pearls, because that's where rarity really, really comes into play. But again, not all, well, very few, if any, are coming out round. So that leaves all this big open field for all these incredibly beautiful natural pearls that aren't hundreds of thousands of dollars, that can easily be shown or sold to a client who might want to spend $1,000 or $2,000 for something unique and different. So, okay, quahog pearls. That's another type of natural pearl. This is a quahog. A lot of quahogs come from the eastern seaboard. And this is a brooch that we estimated was made in the 1800s by, we believe it was an American manufacturer. There was no stamp. But quite a story. I'll tell you the story behind this, because as you can see, it was purchased at an antique store in 2000 for $14.
Oh my goodness.
And the guy who bought it thought, you know, this is really too pretty, 14 bucks, I'm taking it. So he thought he had something more than just a, you know, a how can I put it? He didn't think he had an expensive piece of jewelry. He thought he had just costume jewelry. So took it to his jeweler, who had it checked, and it was natural. It's natural quahog. This piece may also be in the museum over there to see, but we have a natural drop. This is, I believe it was a 5 carat, is that right? The drop is a 9 by 7, it's a 5 carat, I believe. The 14 millimeter is a 15 carat, and it, in quahog, you see that little bit of an eye, where it's lighter in the center. Native American tribes traded in quahog and natural American river pearls extensively over the years, and it was a big part of how they were able to get certain things that they didn't have here with traders. So that eye is actually, a lot of people want to see it. True collectors want to see the eye. They don't want to see a perfect purple, even though that would be incredible. It's important for that look. But it's a button shape, it's 14 millimeter, and the luster is glass-like. It's as good as what you see here, if not better, to the eye. Incredible brooch, really cool piece. But quahog pearls, I don't know if a couple years ago you heard a story about a guy that was having dinner with his wife at the restaurant in, what was it? I believe it might have been Philadelphia. And he bit into something as he was eating his meal and spit it out and thought it was, what is this? He was eating clams, quahog clams, and he bit into a pearl. Well, the waiter came over, told him, oh my God, that's a pearl, that almost never happens. And of course he made the paper, he put it up for auction, and it got like $5,000 in the auction, $5,500 or something. So it wasn't a very big pearl, it was only about a 5, and it was a little funky, but what a great story, you know, it's just really, really cool.
So what is the value on that brooch?
So that brooch is coming in at probably around $250,000 retail.
For 14 bucks.
Yeah, crazy, huh? Yeah, they were pretty happy. Okay, so let me see here. Is that the last one? Yeah. Okay, so here we have a necklace. Now, this looks more of an antique or something that's a king or queen would have. But this is actually a very new necklace. It was just made recently in the last several years. The designer's right here with us tonight, Ildiko. And so she acquired the pearls. It took years and years for you to acquire all the pearls for it. And then the small pearls, actually I was able to acquire those and ended up getting those because those came from a family that immigrated. It was a Jewish family who had immigrated from the war, World War II, and ended up here in the States, and they knew a friend of mine, and said after, it was about 8 years ago, they said, you know, we want to sell this, and I said, perfect, this is a great necklace. It was a single strand that was all, and they would wrap it around and wear it that way. But they wore maybe once a year over the last 50, 60, 70 years. So again, those are from the 1800s, the small ones, These were recently acquired by Ildeco and then made into this incredible, beautiful necklace, which is now going to be for a 1-year exhibit at the Alfie as well. So another one of the pieces that'll be there. Let's see here.
If we were to put a value to that amazing necklace, I mean, there's a ton of pearls in there.
A value on that necklace, a retail value in my opinion, is somewhere in the neighborhood of around 2.4 to 2.75 million for the piece.
Yep.
And I'll tell you why. There's something on this necklace that, oh, backspace. Oh shit, I just deleted everything.
Just do the
Undo.
Oh, undo, okay, I got it.
Undo,
Thank you,
undo.
thank you. Oh,
Undo.
you rock. There we go, okay, now we're
Okay.
talking.
Let me get him a napkin.
There we go, okay, so, this piece, that single pearl right there, that is the heart of this necklace. This is a 17 karat drop shaped pearl that is absolutely perfect in every regard. When the pearl's loose and you can turn it, all naturals will have some misshape somewhere. It'll be off a little bit on top, off here on the side. Maybe it's a little squattier. This isn't. This is perfect. Perfect. This is, for that pearl alone, I estimate a pearl like that could easily be $500,000 just for the pearl, because you'll never see another one like it. And if there was a pair like that, that's millions. I mean, I would love to put a pair like that up at auction, see what happens, because it will never come to fruition. If you look at the pairs that have come up for auctions in the past, even from big named individuals, you'll always see that they're off a little bit. But that's what makes them beautiful also, is the fact that they aren't perfect. But if you're looking for perfection and natural, it doesn't exist. This was the first time I ever saw it. And that to me is what makes this particular piece right here. So let's go close this one. And we're going to,
So compared to La Peregrina, how big is, like how would it compare? Twice the size La Peregrina?
you know, I don't recall the exact weight of the La Peregrina, but this is going to be a smaller size if I recall. I think La Peregrina is a 25 karat plus, if I recall. So, yes, here we go.
And La Peregrina is not perfectly shaped, it's droppish.
Yes, exactly, and it's also Baroque-ish. It's off-shaped, La Peregrina.
So did you end up selling your house to put that necklace together?
No, it was a collection, I collected for about 20 years.
Wow.
Yes.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Did you have this in mind when you started collecting it, or it's just
No, I
like,
started, well, I wanted to make a necklace out of it eventually,
yeah.
but, no, it just worked out that we got the pearls from Carlos, the smaller ones, the ones that came from Europe, the smaller ones. And so, we had those, and those really brought out the centerpieces. So, we bought it from Carlos.
Well, those help give the entire necklace impact.
Yeah,
If you would have
yeah.
tried to put, like we discussed earlier, if you would have tried to put larger pearls, like maybe a single or double strand, it
Yeah.
wouldn't. It would have competed with the large
yeah,
naturals.
Yeah, yeah.
And you wanted to showcase those. You don't want to take
Right.
away from it.
Right.
So yeah,
That's what I love those,
yeah.
Spectacular, yeah.
So we get into, I'm just going to go through a lot of different kinds of pearls here. So this is Pintada. The necklace that you just saw at Ildeco's, those are all Pintada pearls. They come from the Pintada Maxima oyster. And that Pintada Maxima is, the one I'm talking about is Australian South Sea pearl. That's Pintada Maxima, is where all the Australian South Sea pearls are created from. And then you have, so it's a white lipped, and then you have the Pintada Margaritifera, or the black lipped, and that's going to be the Tahitian pearl. So Pintada species is quite pronounced throughout the world in terms of a pearl creating mollusk. We've been able to cultivate and make cultured pearls now since the 60s. Well, for South Sea pearls, but since the 30s or 40s for Mikimoto for cultured pearls. So 10.95 carat. It's a good sized pearl. You'll be able to see it, and it's got a little bit of a cream color to it, but it's nacreous. This is getting into the nacreous, not the porcelaneous material. So we've got a nacreous pearl here, and this one. Let me just grab this real quick because I don't remember the price of this one. So, a pearl like this, because of the size and the fact that it's so clean, it's not perfect, but it's $14,000 retail. Now we have conchs, so you'll be able to see these too. So these are the ones that I was talking about earlier. They're just small, carat, carat and a half, half a carat, but the color is there. You've got that really beautiful strawberry color. That pale pink or the real soft pink, while it's beautiful, the marketplace has decided that that's not as desirable as this with the flame pattern. So prices can be all over the board with natural pearls. You can look at pearl and go, well, that's a conch, and it's a good size, but it's only $500 a carat. Why is the other one $5,000 a carat or $10,000? So that's just looking at material and becoming acclimated with the beauty of the material as well. And as you start to look at more, it's just the same thing as gemstones. Same thing as you're looking at a tourmaline or an aqua. You know, the pale aqua, the cutting's off, the color's not, it's got a little too much green in it, should be more blue. All of, you know, the same exact thing with pearls, but the beauty of pearl is you don't need loops. Everything is done to the eye. You don't put it under a microscope and take a look at it. You pick it up, you look at it, and your immediate thought is, how beautiful is this pearl? You know, how desirable is this? Is this the color that my client is looking for? Is this the shape? And all of those factors will come into play to come to that final price. Just like color stones.
So in that group, that really gemmy one in the center, is that considered that real close-eye color?
This one right here?
Yes. Is that the best of that lot, or is that my opinion?
Well, to me, this has got great flame. The color's a little light. This is a little bit, you see the white here. This has a fluidity of color. Now it's almost too much, in my opinion, but it's a desirable color. But if you're talking about that perfect tone, it might just be a little too dark.
Okay. Thank you.
See this color right here? Love it. Freaking love that. Right there. Just awesome.
So do you
And
consider that
flame? What's that?
Sorry, finish and I'll ask. I was just gonna ask, so would you consider that one the top of all of them?
Well, in my opinion it is.
Mhm.
But again, when you buy gemstones, you want to buy the finest, and a lot of that beauty, you'll know when you see, and you'll know based on that. It's like when you buy gemstones, it's that intuition that you've built up over time of looking at different ones and seeing what you like, and also looking at the prices of different ones. Now, I can tell you, I bought many gemstones that are maybe not the top of their field, but man, that's a damn good looking aqua for, you know, $350 a carat or whatever. So the same holds true with pearls. It's looking at enough to feel comfortable, and then seeing what you like and finding your budget, and then going after that. But the thing about natural pearls is you're never going to have a lot to look at, or a lot of dealers to look at, because very few dealers carry, and it's just too out there. And the consistency of business and culture is there, and I appreciate that, and I get it. But that's specifically why I went into natural, because it isn't what everyone else has. It's niche, it's unique, it's different, it's quality, it's rare.
So what's the value between that lighter pink color that we're used to up on the top right, and the darkest, you know, the one that you loved?
So if you go into the lighter pinks like this, you know, $250 a carat, $300 a carat. You can get into stuff like this. It could be, and I'm not talking about this size. I'm talking about overall. Let's say it was a 4 or 5 carat, like a single decent size for a ring. You know, it might be $350 a carat for something like that. and something like this could be 2,000 a carat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, depending on, is there, again, just like all gemstones, it's got a little bit here. So if this were fluid and that perfect tic-tac shape and a great size, like a 3, 4, 5 carat, prices tend to escalate because those are the ones that are always sought after.
So why
for
wouldn't
rings and
they
earrings.
why wouldn't they cut the tip off that one then?
No, because then you're messing with the material.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
yield.
Yeah, and that's, again, is the beauty of the natural pearl, is you get what you get. With a gemstone, you've got the crystal, you're gonna make sure you facet it in the correct direction, and maybe you're getting the most from the material. With a pearl, that's it. What you see is what you get. And is the luster there? Is the shape there? Is it fluid in color? What is the color tone? All those things will play into it. PP pearls. If I recall, these are near the Philippines, but I don't remember exactly. So these pearls are all natural pearls, natural color. They usually don't come very large. These are, I think, from a 4 to 5 millimeter size, 15.5 carats total weight on that. And this entire suite right here is $4,200 retail. So it's a hell of a lot of pearls and a great look for, retail, $4,200. It's not a ton of money. So beautiful material, unique, different. You can create something for 6,000, 7,000 retail that they're not going to shop anywhere. They're not going to find it anywhere. So very unique. Here's a mellow mellow, 17 karat, crazy flame. Loving it. Porcelaneous.
Is it very round or?
This is actually really round for mellow. I've got a couple here I'll show you guys that are oval, but this one is almost a 4-way.
So is that one of your collection pieces?
Yes, I have that here.
Oh, wow.
Spondulus. Don't know a lot about spondulus. I have a number of pieces. The shell is that purplish tone, so you can get the variation of colors. But typically the pearls spondulus pearls aren't like the cleanest or the highest luster or anything, but they're really cool and they're really rare. This is a 20 carater, almost impossible to get them this size. I haven't seen too many that are well shaped and in a pretty decent size like this. Again, porcelaneous.
Where is that from? I've never been.
Spondulus, I believe it's also Pacific, South China Sea, Philippines, Indonesia, that area mainly,
Wow.
but it can also be found in other parts of the world as well, Africa, Atlantic. Funky spondulus, I have this one here, really wild piece.
Looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, it's
Cartoon
kind of cool.
character.
27 carats, so it's a pretty good size. Scallop pearls. Scallop pearls are really interesting and unique. Again, rare, 1 in every 5,000 to 10,000 might produce a pearl. I don't recall the size on this one. This is, yeah, this is a 8.5 carat. So this is retailing at about 14,000. 8.5 carat, but it's really unique and interesting. Very, very different than the other naturals. There's a top end conch. So you've got 4 carat 27, beautiful jelly bean shape. Ideally, what most people look for that are looking for conchs. You see a little bit of white at the top, but that is nothing. It's all about the flame. Crazy flame in this piece. Beautiful color, beautiful shape. It's a 4 carat 27, and this is 39,000 retail for a piece like that. So conchs are what most buyers of natural pearls have heard about. They're interested. They see them in old Tiffany pieces, Cartier pieces going back to the 20s and 30s even. Some pieces even older than that, because it's been here a lot longer than we have. So it's been used in jewelry for quite a while, but really the bigger houses have been using it. You don't see it here too much, but starting to see a lot more of it in auctions and in the marketplace, which is really, really nice. Gorgeous piece. This is horse conch.
Never seen it.
It's more of a collector pearl. It's not, you don't see it very often. They're really not the most unique. I mean, they're really not the most normal looking pearls. They're quite unique and different. And how to use that in jewelry is just kind of funky. It's a collector piece. So you know, you have collectors for gemstones. You have collectors for natural pearls. There's more than just 2 or 3 varieties. There's dozens, it seems. So a lot of pearls that these incredible clients could be propped for many, many years with a lot of unique things that you can be able to show them. So quite a unique piece.
As a collectible, what's the value?
How much was that one?
That was the horse conch.
So this is a 4 karat 27 and 2,900 retail. Beauty plays a lot into the price as well. I mean, rarity and uniqueness, but some pearls, like some gemstones, it's like you can't really put it in jewelry because either it's too soft or too for those gems. So with pearls, some of them just don't work well, and that's kind of different, and that is why it would be more of a collector piece. You're not going to see it very often in the industry. It's quite unique. This is a scallop pearl. Wow. And some of the deep sea scallop pearls really have almost this patterning like opal, where you get patches. Really, really cool. Really amazing pearl. There's a 4 karater and a piece like this. Here. 428, 11,700 retail. So again, rare, still up there in price. Collector.
Ooh, look at that.
Killer conch. Killer conch. 441. Great color on this one. Shape is nice, and you don't see too much. That white up there is most likely from the lighting, so it's going to be a fluid color throughout. And this is 29,000 retail. So the color is not quite as intense as the one I'd shown you previously. That was 39,000 retail. So you start to see small differences, just like when you look at a really, really fine ruby or a really fine sapphire. Small differences in that stone can make differences of tens of thousands of dollars per carat sometimes. So the same thing holds true with conch. Yes?
Is there a desired profile of that, you know, goes like I see that one that looks more even? Is there, where the other ones look more almond shaped? Is there a shape that you're going for?
Kind of a tic-tac.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
That's like a.
not a football shape, not a long oval,
Like a
just
stack
a nice,
tic-tac.
yeah, just a nice little tic-tac shape, rounded, nothing extreme.
So if both sides have equal symmetry, does that add to the value?
It can. If it is a symmetrical pearl, it will add to the price of the pearl. But if, let's say it has no eye visible flame, the color's way off, or there's blemishes on it that detract from it, it could be the most perfect shape, it's still gonna be a $250 pearl. Yes?
I was just gonna comment, a few years ago at AGTA, I saw one that is very round, not perfectly round, about 6-7 carats. That was like almost $500,000.
It must have been insane.
It was spectacular.
Yeah.
Well, I'm exaggerating, probably was like $150,000, but to me it was.
Yeah, sure. No, I
It was
understand what you're
crazy,
saying.
crazy
Yeah,
expensive,
so
but
it probably had eye
perfectly
visible
round.
flame that you could see, the color was perfect,
Flames.
and it was round, and all,
So
check
how-
all the boxes off, yeah.
My question is, how often do you see rounds? Because that was an insane conch and an insane price.
Rounds are even, it gets even more rare. So if you have a very high quality round, because that can be used in certain types of jewelry, and designers will look for that a lot of times, but that's where the rarity comes in. So if they really need a round, like there's a designer that I had followed, I can't remember his name now, Nicholas, I think is, not Nicholas Barney, but something, he was working a lot with natural pearls, and he created a whole design series based on round natural pearls, from cassis, from mellow mellow, from conch, from tridacta, the giant clam. So the difficulty he must have had in terms of finding all that kind of material that are just rounds, and he paid a premium for that too, of course, because that's not a normal shape.
Yeah,
But
I wish I would have known that what I was looking at that point in time. That was when I first started looking into pearls, and I just saw it, and I'm like, oh, that's nice.
No, I think we all have stories like that. I wished I would have known what I did when my dad brought home in 1983 the most expensive tourmaline he's ever seen in his life.
Oh, wow.
And I was quite young, but he was going, I've never paid $225 a carat for tourmaline. I said, but Dad, that kind of looks cool. He goes, yeah, the color's really pretty. I mean, he of course, you know, Paraíba. So,
Oh my
you know,
goodness.
Yeah.
most expensive tourmaline he's ever seen. I can't buy that. I tell him stories now, and he just, like, he can't even comprehend. So, yeah, we all have those stories. Okay, so this is another spondulus, but here's I'm going to touch base on this, and I'm sure that labs probably don't like it very much, but this is a new collection I just received from my guy overseas, and when this pearl came in, I saw on the cert it said not tridacta. Pinctada. It said pinctada on that. Well, we know that pinctada is a nacreous pearl, like white South Sea pearls and Tahitian pearls. Those are all from the pinctada. They put it on the report that this is a pinctada pearl. I'm calling the guy. He's like, Carlos, I don't know what to tell you. He goes, we know it's spondulus, but what do you do? The lab's going to put what they're going to put. We know they're wrong. This is not a nacreous pearl. So there you go. Just throwing that out there. It can be a little frustrating, and I'm sure we've all had our, well, at least some of us have had our things with labs and things not maybe being correct the first time. So another really cool deep sea scallop pearl. This is another scallop, not as desirable because it's just kind of dark. It's kind of a funky shape. Going to be much less expensive than the first one I showed you. So this one right here, for instance, is $2,200, and the one I had on before this here it is $11,000. They're both about the same weight. Two entirely different looking pearls, and 5 times the difference in price. Another really cool spondulus. And then we go to a pinctada. Nice nacre. We're all used to that. That gets a little more comfortable now. I get that. I see it. That's it. And this one right here is really a beautiful piece. I have this. You would look at this and you would think, oh, that's a cultured South Sea pearl all day long. It's perfectly shaped. It's perfect luster. There's no blems on it. It looks like a cultured pearl, but it's a natural. And a pearl like that is $23,000. If this was a cultured pearl, you'd be looking at a pearl that's probably about $250, $300 wholesale. So as opposed to $11,000, that's $23,000 retail. So pinctada, normal, everyday nacreous material, but again, found out in the middle of the ocean by a fisherman, not in a farmed setting. Kind of a wild scallop pearl there, like tree rings on it. Another nice conch. Another really cool scallop with the orange tone. Quahog. You saw that first one I showed you in the brooch. This is a quahog pearl. This is actually quite large, 8 carats. But this white almost all quahogs are just almost pure white. There's usually only a hint of purple in it. Maybe some have a darker purple, maybe some have a lighter purple, maybe some don't even have any, and it's just pure white. But these, you know, it's still going to be rare, 1 in 10 or 20,000 quahogs before you get one pearl. Yes.
This one doesn't look as nacreous. That was only jewelry piece the person bought for $14. So do they come in both types?
So this is porcelaneous also. This is not nacreous. The one that you saw in the brooch is porcelaneous as well. It is not nacreous.
Oh, I thought it was nacreous.
No, the luster is glass-like in that on that pearl. It's really an incredible luster, but it was a porcelaneous pearl. The quahog does not produce nacreous pearls at all, just porcelaneous.
Question
And
with
what is
regard.
the price of that one, please?
I'm sorry, the price on this one?
Yes, please.
Of course.
Wow.
So it's an 8.84 carats. It's $11,500 retail for that one.
Are there any
That's a great
treatments?
buy.
Sorry?
David said it was a great buy.
I'll send it to you.
Are there any treatments to enhance natural pearls?
No. Some fishermen sometimes will polish the pearl to bring out more luster, or maybe to take off some funky part on it, or some weird thing that makes it a little more difficult to sell. A lot of times what happens is, as the fishermen go to open the shell or to get into the animal, they slice the pearl, not slice, well, they slice it. They put a scratch on the pearl. And so sometimes they'll polish that out as well. But the scratches don't really bother me. I had a natural that I had acquired that had a pretty good sized scratch on it from the fisherman. I put a very light polish on it and I sent it in and it came back worked, which is, you know, very typical for natural pearls to be worked. So they're not going to be dyed, they're not going to be treated in any sense except for possibly some polishing, either to take off, like I said, a weird part of it, or to take out a deep scratch or something like that. But in my opinion, the scratch is there because the fisherman put it there, and you know, it is what it is. Anything you do to it could potentially lower the price of it as opposed to raising the price of it. So it's better to leave it well.
Yeah, because the GIA notes on their certs for natural pearls that if they've been polished, that
Yep.
they evidence of polishing.
And I think they also go on to say that, you know, if there is, they'll state it, but they also state that, you know, this is quite common in natural pearls to have some polishing done on them sometimes.
Does polishing decrease significantly the value?
It can, it just depends on how heavily polished it is. Sometimes the certs will say heavily polished, like they know it's going through, like they really did a number on that piece to get it to look like that. That will have a detrimental factor to the price. So if they try to sell a piece like that as a pearl that's not heavily polished, it's two different prices. Could be half the price. Great pearl.
That is
I mean,
stunning.
So, you know, we talk about all these other gemstones, star sapphires, cat's eye chrysoberyl. All of them do these incredible things. I really don't hear anybody talking about what pearls do. Oh, it's got a beautiful ornate and luster. Yeah, but natural pearls, wow. This is amazing. So I foresee that natural pearls, as we go into the future, the waters are getting warmer and they're getting dirtier. I mean, we're trying to take out all the trash and we're doing a great job out of the ocean and do all that, but I think more is going in and sometimes being taken out. So the water temperature is rising. We know that because coral reefs are being disseminated by 1 or 2 degree or half a degree water temperature, and not as much wildlife in the seas. So the possibility and potential for natural pearls getting more available in the future is actually going to be opposite. I think it's going to be less available in the future. So in anything in our business, we saw how beautiful a Paraíba tourmaline was when it first came out. Yet, why didn't somebody come along and just say, I'm gonna buy everything at $1,000 a carat? Because that same piece is worth $100,000 a carat now. So, I see the same thing with naturals, but you don't have nearly as much material to work with in natural pearls as you do with many of the gemstones in the marketplace. So, beautiful, unique, different, rare, it checks all the boxes. So I only foresee this market becoming stronger and more difficult for the retail jeweler to find things that really speak to them and still make at a price that makes it reasonable to work with.
How much was that?
That one.
And how big is it?
I have that in a special pocket.
Not that I'm a size queen, but now I know how big, how much.
Let's see. That one right there.
Ooh, you got it in here. I want to see.
Oh,
Yes, the other box, the other box.
The good stuff at the bottom.
oh, baby, where'd you go?
Special pocket is hard.
Well, I guess I didn't bring it. So that one right there is the, that's a 17 carat. That one is coming in at,
It's big.
40,000, no, 50,000 retail. That one's 50,000 retail, 17 carats.
Is it mellow pearl or mellow pearl?
Mellow, mellow. And then pink tortoise. These are all pink tortoise pearls, which again is like the white South Sea pearl. And an assortment like this, 70 carats, is about 20,000 retail for that. So you can do necklaces, earrings, rings, 20,000 retail. There's little black spots because that's where it's been marked for either half drilling or a full drill for a necklace. And that's it.
Questions?
Thank you for sharing your collection.
Yeah.
It's really special.
As always, I have a lot of
Thank you.
questions.
Yes, Will.
So what is the biggest conch pearls that you have come across? Like, size-wise?
From the not size queen over here.
Yep. Okay. The biggest conch that I've come across is, so the 20 carat, I have a 27 carat, which is kind of funky. I came across a 35 carat one, but it was very distorted and it wasn't pretty at all. Not at all. Which is, then as big as it is and as rare as it is, if you find something that's like rare and beautiful, unless it's for a collector, why would somebody want to spend money to put it on them if they don't think it's beautiful either? So I go a lot by what I think of the pearl when I first see it. Is like, what do I find striking about it? What is beautiful about that piece? I mean, okay, it's rare, it's a natural pearl, but we have to go beyond that. Is the color there? Is the shape there? Is the luster there? Is the fling there enough to attract somebody else to spend big bucks on something that they know nothing about, and they're looking at you as the expert to do that? So a lot of it is what you think also. So yes, that was the biggest one, but I didn't think it was very pretty at all.
Okay. So much for being a size queen, right?
Yes.
Are you wearing a cultured pearl?
I'm wearing a cultured, yeah. These are necklaces I've been doing for over 20 years. They're on a multi-strand German chain, and then I drill and put Tahitian cultured pearls on it. Yes.
So in your opinion, was it a glass bauble or was it a pearl earring? For mirrors.
Oh.
Oh.
I grow.
I love that stuff.
You
I
think
would
it
say a
was-
pearl earring.
You think so,
Yeah.
way back then?
Yeah. yeah, for sure that.
Because there was an article that came out where someone thought because of its size and rarity
Oh, wow.
that would
Now-
have been extremely,
I could see the painter, maybe
Made
she
it
was wearing a
bigger.
smaller one and maybe wanted to have it more impactful and make it
Yeah.
larger,
Yeah.
but I think it was real.
okay.
Yes.
She wasn't very well off,
That's
so she
funny.
might have borrowed it.
Good point.
Can the porcelainous ones be cultured?
That's a really good question. So, the short answer is no, but
What was the question?
can the porcelaneous pearls be cultured? So, the short answer I have to that is no, but, back in, I think it was the 1990s, and Jennifer Huebner talked about this as well. She might have even written a small article about it. There was a couple, in, I believe it was Florida, that were attempting to cultivate conch pearls. So they worked on it for years and years and years, and they were actually able to do it.
Wow.
They were actually able to cultivate conch. Now, the cost of cultivation, the stress, and everything else that goes along with it, just like all these farmers have to deal with in Tahiti, in Australia, is, it's not an easy gig. You've got a lot of things to contend with. So, but they figured it out. Through trial and error, they figured it out. The pearls cost more than what the market was willing to spend. Because it costs more than the natural pearls cost. So why would anybody, even if it costs the same or a little bit less, why would anybody? It has to be almost like what's happening now in the diamond business, which is you have to have the extremes to make it worthwhile to go down that road. And they figured it out, but like I said, the cost, the extremes weren't there, so they just said, okay, that's it. And they stopped doing it. It never was commercially available.
If you're interested in learning about that, there's an article on GIA. If you do a search at gia.edu about natural pearls, cultured, there is an article because the lab came across one pearl that they figured out
Was cultured.
It was cultured.
And was a conch, I imagine.
No, it wasn't a conch.
Oh.
I can't remember what it was, but it was a porcelaneous pearl.
Okay, it was a porcelaneous. Okay.
But it
Oh, now
they
I'm gonna
run it
read
through the
that
X-ray and
article.
all that stuff. and-
Interesting.
Because I actually had the exact same question. Can you find like a conch pearl that is cultured?
Yeah. So yes, you can, but nobody's doing
Not
it
worth
anymore.
it.
But it would be interesting to see. I have to read that article. That sounds very.
I'm sure I saved it. I'll
Yeah.
send it to you.
Okay, cool.
I have a question about the market. So, it is an obscure market for me. I love looking to see what the market bears and, the trends and all that stuff, but you don't find a whole lot about natural pearls because the market is so tiny. But what have you seen in the past from the pandemic to this day? So for example, saltwater pearls have doubled in the past couple of years. So have you seen something similar in the natural?
When you say doubled, you mean doubled in price?
In price, yes.
Okay, so yeah, they have gone up, but that's purely supply and demand. So when we look at the cultured marketplace, here's a perfect example of that. So let's go. I'm trying to, after the pandemic, time seems to go at a different rate than it used to prior to that. So I don't know if it was this past September or the September before, but right prior to the Hong Kong show, it was this past September when
23.
Yeah. So you had a Chinese blogger, basically,
The actress.
influencer, and put it on a very famous young Chinese actress that exploded. It was a multicolored Tahitian strand, nothing big, but they were amazing and beautiful. And now everyone in China wanted it because she had it.
Wow.
So right as the show was starting, or near the time for the show to start, there was an auction that was set place where buyers were coming in from all over the world. And exactly, that it didn't
Somebody
happen.
bought the
Yes.
entire stock.
I was there.
Yes, and you could probably tell the story much better than I can.
Well, the story is, Mimi is her name. She's an actress, influencer, and blogger. Very lovely, accomplished actress, and she finished many films, and she was promoting her newest one. So she
and a friend were modeling South Sea, the Koya, all saltwater pearls. Took 31 selfies, posted them on the internet, kaboom, crashed the net. So all the guys and gals were modern, they were buying pearls to sell on the internet, which is a big deal in China. You think China is poor? Well, think they have 5 times more people than we do. All it takes is 20% of money, and they're ready to spend, and they're creating the market, and making it hard for us who don't have that kind of money. But story, I'm digressing, excuse me. So all those crazy people, not crazy, smart people in China came to the Hong Kong show, and there are all these booths in the show all over the place, and that whole section of the show was mobbed. You couldn't get through. So in 2 to 3 days, they cleaned out this booth pretty much, and they went for prices 2 to 3 to 4 times more.
Wow.
And the market's been increasing exponentially since the pandemic because they can't get the product, because if you say the water isn't as good, they can't produce the pearls because the organisms can't get the calcium carbonate ions to bond to make the maker. So it's a mess. And as you say, there's going to be fewer natural pearls for the same reason. The oceans have changed, and everything's changed. If we have plastics in us, and we probably have plastics in the animals too. So this is what happened to the market last September.
So now, the auction that was set place was actually stopped days before because wasn't there a Chinese company that came in and purchased everything at the auction from
That
Juan?
was Robert Juan.
Yeah,
Robert Wong.
from Juan.
Robert Juan. And
Wow.
I've been to his auction before, and they have 3-day auction, and this one Chinese buyer made him an offer he could not refuse for many, many millions, and did it. End
Now-
of story.
Now, while we saw prices escalate rapidly and trying to figure out how are the stores going to be able to take this in, and the market has its way.
It's crazy.
Haven't prices already in the Tahitian goods started to decrease, and now they're becoming more affordable again for the dealers to acquire and get new material?
The market has softened a little bit, but not that much. So they're still up there.
But these were very much highs back in September.
Well, there are some crazy prices that you wouldn't believe, like $45,000 and $9,000 for Tahitian strands were so
Oh.
glorious, not even that big, but stunning. Each pearl made your eyes water. They were
These are
beautiful.
for sale.
We looked at that, and then we just looked at it and said, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And dealers that were selling, that I know, like Alexander Collins, who has an atoll, he sells the little baby pearls, he sold out everything. And I'm happy for him.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that was crazy. Now, the white South Sea pearls have held the market pretty strong. Indonesians, it's not quite as fine as the Australians, but it's still good, and that market's still strong. But we don't know yet, and I'll be there in September.
Well, it'll be interesting to hear. Yeah.
By the way,
Thank you.
A little anecdote. So I got the gossip on the Hong Kong show from Betty Sue, like September, October, right after she came back. And then a month and a half, 2 months later, there was this article that said exactly what she said.
Well, it's Betty Sue, come on.
Yeah. I think it was Rappaport or National.
They probably
Geographic.
called her for the article.
Yeah, and that was my question. Did they call you about that stuff?
No, they had to dig it up on their own, but hey, I was there.
Yeah.
So, any other questions, guys? Yes.
I noticed you use the term flame for mellow mellow. Is that a market term or an official term to explain the kind of like astericism or Chateauency?
Great question. It's both. It's a term that I've communicate with dealers overseas, and it's a term that's used in the business as well.
GIA uses that term.
Okay.
Do you have a secret or a technique of separating cultured pearls from natural pearls? And Betty Sue, you're probably the same question. It's just like, we're all getting strands in.
It's
and
almost
the old strands have such thick nacre, and so what do you do?
It's really almost impossible. I would venture to say impossible to be 100% accurate. So, for instance, that oval-shaped pintada natural pearl that I put up there. That was 23,000 retail. If you looked at this and I mixed it in with a parcel of oval cultured pintadas in the same shape, which this looks like it could be a cultured pearl all day long. So I wouldn't have said that this was natural. There's no way. It looks too much like a cultured. That triple strand of that French necklace that I showed you, with the triple strand and that little drop here in the front, those look like cultured pearls to me. So you have to send that kind of stuff to a lab and have it x-rayed and checked out. There's absolutely no other way. Yes, you can guess if they're a little off, or maybe you think you've seen enough to get a sense. You can get a sense, but with the gemstone, you can put it in a microscope, do SG, RI, a variety of tests to determine it. But with the pearl, you can't.
We still get several back inconclusive.
Yeah.
And it, you know, we send them in, we take them out of the mounting and send them in, and they're still coming back inconclusive.
Yeah, the sad thing is, a few years ago, a number of years ago, there was a number of dealers throughout the world that kind of worked together, and these are unknown dealers, so it's not people we know. They were nucleating mollusks with keshi pearls, or maybe starting it with a small natural pearl to create a larger one, and calling it a natural, but it's in a cultured setting. Just like keshi, GIA states, it is a cultured pearl if it's in a farmed environment, or man is messing with the mollusk. If you are messing with the mollusk, it doesn't matter if it's a farm or in the middle of the ocean. If you're messing with that mollusk, putting it back in the water to create something, it is a cultured pearl. Period, end of story. Keshis are the closest things to natural, but they're not natural. They look like little natural pearls. They're gorgeous and pure nacre and all that, but they're keshi pearls because they happen by accident during the cultivation in the farm. So labs are, I wish labs would allow more information to come into them from actual buyers out in the field. There's a couple of guys I know that do that. They travel around the world to buy, and they just tell me stories about how things happen, and then they want to try to.
Provenance? You think they'll add that kind of provenance? Because I know when I bought South Sea pearls, I would ask them, like, where did you get it? You know, is that kind of information asked?
Oh, people can ask, but you have to think, a lot of times, these natural pearls, I was not at the fishing boat when it came off the water and sitting there waiting for them to buy any of these. I wasn't.
But now they have cell phones. I mean, you could take a photo of the fishermen. I mean, you could kind of, it doesn't happen though, probably.
Nah, it's the Wild West.
Okay.
It's it really is one of the few things in our industry that's still the Wild West, is when you get into natural pearls. Difficult, I know, I hear stories of buyers out there that are, you know, truly just there for the buck. The people I work with want to support those that are native and local to those areas. And so a lot of the material that we see here when my associates bought some of these, we bought it from the fishermen, or not from the fishermen, excuse me. We bought it from the gentleman who lives in that area, works with the fishermen, acquires the material, and then when we meet, we then get the material from him. Because we're always willing to pay a higher price, and we want to help the community as well. We're not trying to make the quick buck in that sense. So it's the Wild West when it comes to stuff like that, and it's just it's difficult.
It may change. I mean, you've been there for a long time, so maybe as there's more information and more desirability, maybe it will be a little bit more provenance.
I would love to believe that, but human nature is, you know, a fickle thing.
Speaking of, you know, where the market stands, I read an article a while ago that says that Saudi Arabia was starting their, you know, Iranian pearls, the natural pearl, I guess I couldn't say cultivation, but they were trying to
Yeah,
get
because they're not
that
culturing,
restart.
they're trying to keep the beds in good shape, they're trying to keep the waters clean, they're trying to propagate the species so that it allows for more natural pearls to be created or found.
Have you
naturally.
seen those coming into the market at all?
Well,
Like,
Bob
is there-
Rain, so Rappaport,
Yeah.
you know, as a lot of you saw, if you attended either Tucson or Vegas show, Rappaport had a booth, and in his booth were thousands of Bahraini natural pearls, and that's what. So he's working with Danat, which is a very big lab, but he's working with the Bahrain fisheries and those people involved in that business there to help either through auctions or direct sales from these shows. And these pearls will travel in different shows throughout the world and then go up for auction. So he's trying to you know, bring more awareness to that material.
Have you seen some coming your way?
I don't get Bahrain pearls very often. I actually have a pair that I just recently acquired as an estate that were shirt studs, 6.5 millimeter, just cute little round, semi-round pearls. But yeah, the natural pearl market, I learned, and there's so much to learn in it. I've been doing this for, like I said, over 42 years, and man, there's a lot to learn about naturals.
The information out there is not readily available, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because this is very special.
So now that you know, now you can come and see what he has in real time. And Betty Sue also had, did everybody get a chance to do Betty Sue's?
Time's up.
Oh, time's up, never mind.
Time's up.
So, 3 people.
Oh, wait a second.
So there's 3 people.
Thank you so much.
So Scarlett, you won.